Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're working in a small NGO here in Ghana or really anywhere across Africa, you know exactly how crucial it is to gather reliable information out in the communities we serve. So you're in exactly the right place today. We're going to talk about how to build a rock-solid foundation for your projects by collecting data you can actually trust.
There's this saying I love: a decision is only ever as good as the data beneath it, and data collected carelessly will mislead you with great confidence. Isn't that the truth? You can set up your baselines, you can choose your indicators, but man, if the data you bring back from the field is flawed, the whole thing just falls apart. Bad data doesn't just sit there quietly. It literally pushes you into making terrible decisions, and it does it with absolute confidence.
So what does this all mean for us? How do we actually fix this and gather trustworthy data in the field? Well, let's dive right into it. We're going to walk through a very practical, step-by-step fieldwork journey so you always bring back the truth. Okay, step 1. Before you collect new data, this is the very first question you've got to ask yourself and your team before anyone even thinks about stepping out of the office. Does this data already exist? Think about it like this. You basically have two options. First, you've got primary data. That's the stuff you go out and collect yourself, through your own surveys, interviews, or just observing. But then you've got secondary data. This is information that's already out there. It's sitting right now at places like the Ghana Statistical Service, or in your district assembly records, a health facility register, or even a local school's enrollment book. You should always check for secondary data first. Why? Because reading existing records is so much cheaper and faster than sending a whole team out to collect data someone else has already written down. Moving right along to step 2, match method to question. Now, if you discover the data doesn't exist yet, you're going to have to collect primary data. And honestly, the real art of fieldwork is matching your specific question to the perfect collection method.
Think of this as your fieldwork cheat sheet. If your question is just how many or how much, use a survey. That's for counting things, like, say, finding out how many out of 200 farmers adopted a new practice. But if you need real depth, you're going to want a key informant interview. Sitting down with someone who really knows the ins and outs, like a local chief, an assembly member, or an agricultural extension officer, will give you the kind of rich insight a tick-box survey never could. Now, what if you need to know why or understand people's true perceptions? A focus group discussion hits the nail right on the head. Bring 10 women farmers together and they'll tell you exactly why they did or didn't adopt a practice. Then we have observation. This answers the critical question, is it really there? You just have to go see for yourself. Walk the demonstration plot or verify if those new latrines in a coastal community are actually clean and being used. Remember, what people say and what's actually there aren't always the same thing. And finally, document review. That's just reading records that already exist. The whole secret here is matching your method to the exact question you need answered.
All right, step 3, avoiding the roadside bias. Now, since we obviously can't talk to everyone in a target population, we have to select a smaller group that fairly represents the whole community. But you need to watch out, because there's a massive trap right here.
It's known as the roadside bias. This is the incredibly dangerous practice of only interviewing the households whose homes sit right beside the main road, just because, well, they're easy to reach. If you do this, you're going to get a very tidy picture of the community, but it'll be completely false. A true, reliable sample has to deliberately reach those far communities tucked away from the road. You have to make sure you're talking to women as well as men and reaching the poorer households just as much as the better off ones.
Step 4, crafting a clean questionnaire. So, now that we know exactly who we're talking to, we need to lay down some strict ground rules for building the tool we're going to use to ask them our questions. Think of this as your ultimate quality assurance checklist. Keep it super clean, strictly one idea per question, and use plain, simple words. And please, no leading questions that subtly push someone toward a specific answer. Make sure everything flows in a sensible, logical order with clear response options for any closed questions. Also, handle sensitive questions with a lot of care and always get proper consent. But here is an absolutely crucial point. You have to ask questions in the respondent's actual language. If your community speaks Dagbani, Ewe, or Hausa, your tool and your enumerators must speak it fluently too. You've also got to respect their time by keeping things reasonably short. And never, ever skip rule number 9, pilot the tool first. Seriously, a question that makes total sense to you sitting comfortably in the NGO office is often completely confusing to someone out in the community. Lastly, make sure your enumerators are fully trained on every single detail.
Okay, moving to step 5, going offline with KoboToolbox. We're stepping away from the theory now and looking at the most practical and totally free tool available from modern fieldwork. It's actually a super simple process, and honestly, KoboToolbox is a total game changer. You start by making a free account at KoboToolbox.org. Then you build your form. You can seamlessly add all sorts of question types, numbers, text, even GPS coordinates and photos. After that, deploy it straight to the Kobo Collect app on any Android phone. Now here is the absolute magic part. You can collect data in far-off communities with zero network connection. None. The data saves securely right onto the phone itself. Then you just sync the saved data later when your field officer gets back to a place with cell signal. It completely kills off those messy piles of paper, cuts way down on field errors, and puts all your data in one neat place ready for analysis.
Step 6. Guarding your data quality. Because even with amazing tools like KoboToolbox, you still need constant vigilance to protect your final product.
Every single piece of information you collect needs to be evaluated against 4 key marks of quality data. Is it accurate? Is it complete? Is it consistent? And is it timely? The best way to protect these 4 marks is by training your enumerators properly and checking the data day by day as it comes in from the field. Do not wait until the very end of the project to check it, because by then, it's way too late to fix any mistakes. And listen, you have got to fiercely guard against this massive pitfall, armchair data. This is when someone just fabricates the figures from memory, sitting in a comfortable chair without ever actually visiting the field. Just no way. You have to firmly reject the temptation of armchair data. Getting trustworthy data absolutely requires a real, physical presence in the community. Which brings us to our final thought. See, you've checked for secondary data, matched your methods, avoided that roadside bias, built a clean tool in the local language, collected it all offline, and closely guarded its quality. Now that your data is collected and truly trustworthy, are you ready to organize it into routine monitoring and step up into the evaluation phase of your project? The foundation is set. Now it's time to put that data to work.